Most people want to become stronger, stronger emotionally, stronger mentally, stronger spiritually. But almost nobody asks the question, what actually makes a human being mentally strong? Is it confidence, money, power, experience? No, because life has humbled people who had all of those things. There are wealthy people crippled by anxiety, powerful people controlled by criticism, successful people destroyed by rejection, famous people who cannot survive their own thoughts. So clearly, mental strength is something deeper. It is not measured by what you possess. It is measured by what possesses you. Can an insult control your mood? Can rejection control your identity? Can uncertainty control your decisions? Can failure convince you to stop trying? Can success inflate your ego? Can praise become something you depend on? These questions matter because every day life asks them, not through words, through circumstances. A difficult morning, an unexpected loss, a betrayal, a delay, a disappointment, a dream that does not unfold the way you imagined. That is where your philosophy is revealed. Not when life is easy, when it refuses to cooperate. More than 2,000 years ago, the Stoics became obsessed with a single question. How do you build a mind that remains steady even when the world isn't? Not emotionless, not cold, not detached from humanity, but anchored, grounded, impossible to manipulate through fear, because they understood something that most people never do. The biggest prison is not outside of you. It is in the mind that believes its peace depends on circumstances. If your peace depends on people behaving the way you want, you will always be disappointed. If your peace depends on life unfolding according to your plans, you will always be anxious. If your peace depends on being admired, you will always be controlled. The Stoics offered a radically different path. Build yourself into someone who cannot be shaken by what was never under your control. Not because nothing hurts, but because you stop expecting the uncontrollable to obey you. That is freedom. And now we are exploring 10 timeless lessons from Stoicism. Not as history, not as philosophy for philosophers, but as psychological tools that can transform the way you think, the way you respond, and ultimately, the person you become. Because mental strength is not something you are born with. It is something you practice. One thought, one decision, one difficult moment at a time. There is a reason the Stoics did not begin by teaching people how to conquer the world. They began by teaching them how to conquer themselves. Because a person who cannot govern their own mind will eventually be governed by everything else, by circumstances, by opinions, by fear, by pleasure, by comfort, by other people. Mental strength does not begin with confidence, it begins with discipline. The discipline to think differently, to respond differently, to live differently. And now, let's begin with the first lesson. To respond differently, to live differently. Number 1, control what you can, release what you cannot. This may be the most famous Stoic principle and perhaps the most misunderstood. Most suffering doesn't come from reality. It comes from arguing with reality. You cannot control whether people like you. You cannot control the weather, the economy, aging, death, other people's choices, their honesty, their loyalty, their character. Yet imagine how much of your day is spent thinking about those exact things, trying to predict them, trying to change them, trying to prevent them, trying to make peace with things that were never yours to command. The Stoics would ask a simple question: is this within your control? If the answer was yes, they acted. If the answer was no, they practiced acceptance, not because they were passive, because they understood that anxiety is often born from confusing influence with control. There is incredible peace in saying, I cannot control what happens, but I can control who I become because of it. That single thought can change your life. Number 2, your opinion of an event creates most of its power. Imagine two people lose their jobs on the same day. One says, my life is over. The other says, this is painful, but perhaps this is also the beginning of something better. Same event, different mind, different future. The Stoics believed that events are rarely what destroy us. It is the meaning we immediately attach to them. Rejection, failure, embarrassment, loss. None of these arrive with meaning attached. We assign the meaning, which means we also possess the ability to change it. This does not mean pretending pain is not painful. It means refusing to let pain become identity. A setback is not a life sentence. A mistake is not a personality. A failure is not your future. Sometimes the greatest freedom comes from asking one question: what else could this mean? Because perspective is often the beginning of resilience. Number 3, discipline is stronger than motivation. Most people wait to feel inspired. The Stoics did not, because motivation is emotional and emotions change. Some mornings you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other mornings, simply getting out of bed feels difficult. If your life depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline asks a different question. Will I do what needs to be done, even when I don't feel like doing it? That is where character is forged, not on the days when everything is easy. On the ordinary days, the boring days, the difficult days, the invisible days, the broke days. Anyone can be disciplined for a week. Very few people can remain disciplined for years. Yet that is exactly what separates extraordinary lives from ordinary ones. Not talent, not luck, repetition. The willingness to keep showing up long after the excitement has disappeared, because eventually discipline stops feeling like effort. It becomes identity. You no longer exercise because you're motivated. You exercise because that's who you are. You no longer keep your word because it's convenient. You keep it because integrity has become your character. That is the beginning of an unshakable mind. If the first 3 lessons teach you how to build a stable foundation, the next 4 teach you how to remain standing when life tries to shake it. Because Stoicism has never been about avoiding difficulty. It has always been about becoming greater than it. Number 4, your emotions are messengers, not masters. Most people live as servants to their emotions. They wake up feeling anxious, so they believe the day will be bad. They feel afraid, so they assume they should stop. They feel angry, so they speak. They feel offended, so they react, without realizing an emotion is not a command. It is information. Fear is information. Anger is information. Jealousy is information. Sadness is information. But information is not instruction. Imagine driving a car. The fuel light comes on. You acknowledge it. You respond. But imagine if every warning light grabbed the steering wheel. You would crash. And that is exactly how many people live. Every emotion takes control. Every feeling becomes reality. The Stoics understood something profound. The strongest person is not the one who never feels. It is the one who chooses which feelings deserve obedience. Between the emotion and the response, there is a choice. I'll say that again. Between the emotion and the response, there is a choice. That choice is where your freedom lives. Number 5, seek respect, not comfort. Comfort has become one of the greatest addictions of modern life. We avoid difficult conversations, difficult workouts, difficult truths, difficult decisions. Anything that stretches us, we avoid. Yet every meaningful thing you've ever accomplished required discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable. Healing is uncomfortable. Even love requires discomfort sometimes. The Stoics did not ask what feels good today. They asked what makes me stronger. Those are completely different questions. Comfort creates convenience. Difficulty creates character. So ask yourself, are your decisions making life easier or making you better? Because those two things are not always the same. Number 6, expect life to be difficult. This sounds pessimistic. It is not. It is liberating. One of the reasons people suffer so intensely is because they expect life to be fair. They expect good people to always win, hard work to always pay off, loyalty to always be returned, plans to always succeed. And then reality arrives, someone lies, someone leaves, someone betrays, someone disappoints, someone dies, and they ask, why is this happening to me? The Stoics would answer, because you are alive. Difficulty is not evidence that life has singled you out. Difficulty is part of the human condition. And once you accept that, you stop wasting energy being shocked by hardship. Instead, you prepare yourself to meet it with courage. Number 7, guard your mind more than your possessions. Imagine someone stole $100 from you. You'd notice, you'd be upset. Now imagine someone stole 3 hours of your attention through gossip, arguments, outrage, comparison, mindless scrolling. Would you notice? Most people don't. Yet attention is infinitely more valuable than money. Money can return, time cannot, peace cannot. A distracted mind cannot produce an extraordinary life because excellence requires focus, and focus requires protection. The Stoics were incredibly selective about what they allowed into their minds because they understood a truth that neuroscience continues to confirm. What repeatedly enters your mind eventually shapes it. If you feed your mind fear, fear grows. If you feed it resentment, resentment grows. If you feed it discipline, discipline grows. Your mind is always becoming what you repeatedly give it. So protect it the way you would protect the most valuable thing you own. Because your mind is the most valuable thing you own. By now, you've probably noticed something. The Stoics were never trying to eliminate suffering. They were trying to eliminate unnecessary suffering. The suffering created by our own minds. Because life will challenge you, that much is guaranteed. The real question is, will those challenges build you or break you? The final 3 lessons answer that question. Number 8, stop chasing approval. One of the greatest prisons a human being can live in is the need to be liked. Think about how many decisions people make every single day, not because they believe those decisions are right, but because they are afraid to be judged. They stay quiet, they shrink themselves, they abandon their convictions, they wear masks, they become who everyone else expects them to be, and they forget who they really are. The Stoics believed that your character should matter more than your reputation, because your reputation belongs to other people. Your character belongs to you. People will misunderstand you, criticize you, judge you through the lens of their own experiences. You cannot control that, but you can control whether you betray yourself trying to change their opinion. Never exchange your authenticity for applause. Applause fades. Character remains. Number 9, remember that you will die. This sounds dark. It is not. It is one of the most liberating ideas ever practiced. The Stoics called it memento mori. Remember that you will die, not to become fearful, but to become awake. Because when you remember that your time is limited, petty arguments become smaller. ego becomes quieter. Procrastination becomes harder to justify. You stop postponing the life you actually want. You stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, the perfect version of yourself, because suddenly you understand that life is happening right now. Every day you postpone becoming who you could be, it's a day you never get back. Death does not make life meaningless. It makes it precious. The finite nature of your existence is exactly what gives it value. Number 10, your greatest battle is within. People spend their entire lives trying to conquer the world. More money, more influence, more recognition, more success. Meanwhile, they remain strangers to themselves. The Stoics understood that your greatest opponent is not another person. It is your own impulses, your own fear, your own excuses, your own ego, your own unwillingness to do what you already know needs to be done. Every morning you fight two versions of yourself. One seeks comfort, the other seeks growth. One wants to blame, the other accepts responsibility. One reacts, the other reflects. One wants the easier path, the other chooses the meaningful one. Every decision casts a vote for one of them. And eventually the version you repeatedly feed becomes who you are. That is why Stoicism isn't merely a philosophy. It is a daily practice, not practiced once, practiced every morning, every difficult conversation, every disappointment, every temptation, every setback, every victory. Because mental strength is never built in extraordinary moments. It is built in ordinary ones. People often imagine that mentally strong people never feel fear, never doubt, never grieve, never struggle. That isn't true. The unshakable person feels everything, but they are not ruled by everything. They cry without becoming hopeless. They fail without becoming failures. They lose without losing themselves. That is real strength. Finally, becoming mentally strong has never been becoming harder. It's about becoming steadier, the kind of person who cannot be bought by comfort, cannot be broken by criticism, cannot be distracted by approval, cannot be defeated by temporary failure, because the strongest people are not those who control life. They are the ones who have learned to control themselves. And when you master your own mind, life loses its ability to shake you, not because storms stop coming, but because you finally become the mountain they crash against. It has been my pleasure as always to sit with you. This has been the Human Mirror. Look closely, you are never invisible. I'll see you in the next reflection.